I will call the meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. and inform all present that the meeting is being recorded. Teresa, could you list all attendees verbally, please?
Myself, Teresa Fuller, CAO, Councillor Cindy Oram, Mayor Rob McDonald, Councillor Kyle McIntosh, Councillor Jackie Northey, and Deputy Mayor Brian Gust is on Zoom joining us. And I also have Public Works Foreman Patrick Taylor, and I have Kevin Sabo just signed on by Zoom. And I now am accepting Stu Sakel from the waiting room. Stu, you're joining us. We've just hit the record button. Welcome aboard.
Thank you, Teresa. No public hearing. Any additions or amendments to the agenda?
If I may, Sir Chair, I would like to add 7.7, Regional Subdivision Appeal Board member.
Very well. Anybody else?
Me.
Do we feel like doing anything with this agenda, or are we just going to stop here?
We've worked hard here tonight, but I move we accept the agenda as amended.
Thank you, Kyle. All in favor? Carried. Minutes of the last meeting. Everybody had a chance to go through them?
Yeah, I would just like to amend my report. It says that the town hall meeting was delivered by MLA Lovely for me, but actually it was delivered by Ed, like education, and then separately I had to decline a meeting with MLA Lovely, so it should say I declined a meeting with MLA Lovely rather than meeting with her.
Anybody care to accept these?
I can do that.
Thank you, Cindy. All in favor? Carried. Our delegation is here.
Okay, so I'm going to excuse myself. Can we go here? Or do I have to go right outside?
Are they connecting by Zoom or?
No, they're here.
She's physically.
Yeah.
Okay. If you guys just want to wait in the coffee room, you can do that.
Use Teresa's
No, you
room,
can
but
stay.
I promise not to make a mess of it.
There might be some supper in the fridge if you're looking for food.
Might excuse myself now too.
Right?
Well, we can hook you up.
Fish combo.
Yeah, seafood. Jambalaya.
I don't need a going out. She's just
Sure. Well, I can. Lights on, make yourself at home. Hi, come on in. Ready for me? Yep, you betcha. Good. Come on. Hi, where would you
Oh,
like
yeah.
me to sit? Park you on the end there, and I'll move that stuff out of the way for you. Sorry about that.
Welcome.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Where should I be looking? Should I be looking in a camera somewhere? Or?
Well, we've got the camera pointed at the chair, but if
Okay.
you want me to turn it to you.
No, that's okay.
I mean, that can be arranged.
Do I have to wait or are we getting
Nope.
started? Just get started?
Yep. Carry
Okay.
on.
So good evening. My name is Leanne McCarroll, and on behalf of the board members and the staff at the Bashaw Youth Drop-In Foundation, I would like to say thank you to the town of Bashaw for your previous and ongoing support. So the Bashaw Youth Center's after school and summer programming for children and youth ages 5 to 18 years of age consist of our 5 core values: inclusion and opportunity, respect and belonging, empowerment, collaboration, and speaking out. Providing both after school and summer programming during the pandemic has been a challenge, but we have done the best we can. We have tried our best to accommodate all the changes by providing online tutorials for children and parents, as well as in-person programming when allowed. Although times are still uncertain, our plan forward is to get back to as normal as possible and continue with the quality programming we had provided pre-COVID. The SDSS grant funding is key in allowing us to continue to move forward and be successful. Thank you, and any questions?
Brian, do you want me to bring up any of the agenda package, or you got a hard copy in front of you?
I do have a hard copy. I actually have a question.
I'm ready.
Go ahead.
In the package provided, they are referring to the programming, and they always are referring to total number of youth 20. Like, is that 20? Is it always 20? Is it sometimes 40? Is it sometimes 10? Like, what's the significance of 20?
I believe that's participants served in a year was 20 different children within the year. So
Okay,
it can be a different number every day. It's not every day. That was just how many we served throughout that year. And again,
So-
COVID, so. we were
So then one, if maybe possibly one child was there once and one was there 20 times, is that,
Yeah,
but it was still, it would, even if they were there once, that would be one of the 20.
yes.
Okay.
Flag is really crackling up there.
Yeah.
Cindy, do you have any questions?
I'm just looking through really quick here. Don't think I have any questions. You guys have done an excellent job of laying everything out here. So
That's our executive director, who's very good. That's what she does.
I have no questions.
like I said, this is all really well put together, so it's very detailed, and so it doesn't leave you looking for much, so
That's good.
that's great, so yeah, thank you.
Okay, well, that was
That was quick and painless.
painless, yes, so thank you for your consideration.
Thanks, Leanne.
Thank
Okay,
you.
we'll see you guys. Have a good night.
We can accept the report as presented. Is that the motion we need?
Yep.
Accept this
Set the
information.
presentation as information.
Yep.
Okay.
All in favor? Is Brian indicating?
Yes,
Yeah.
Brian's.
I figured it was only three of us were better.
Okay, that's
Mhm.
sorry, Patrick. Step right on you.
I'll try not to take no.
Item 7.1, Councilor McIntosh bringing fresh cinnamon buns was approved.
Oh, excellent. I will let the meeting place know.
Special order.
7.1, Canadian National Railway. Best ones.
So I do have a question. Do we have a date when this last was maintained or rejuvenated or
I would-
Rehabilitated.
rehabilitated? That's the word I was looking for.
I'd probably have to kind of dig through the files and see if I can find anything. But like there was at one point in time, because like when you look at the map and see the railway crossing there, 54th crosses straight across, it doesn't do that weevil anymore. And so land title still has it registered that way for whatever reason. And so I don't know if it was up to us to register the change in the crossing there or how that came to be. But I believe it was a construction project to change where it crossed so that it would just align with the street or the avenue that crossing the street, crossing there.
It's been like that, the way it is now for at least 20 years.
Okay.
I would say,
Because
Yeah,
it was
I
not,
don't
it was
remember
not new when I moved here.
no,
Well,
wasn't
and I know when
did
I
either.
look at that, I often wonder, why does it still look that way when we, because like all of our mapping is pulled up from Altalus. And much of the mapping comes up that same way.
Was there ever a dog leg in there, Jack?
Uh-uh,
I didn't think so.
uh-uh.
I know it used, the crossing never used to be there. It used to come across on 50th.
Yeah,
So where the highway is only.
Yeah, where the highway comes in, it used to carry right across
yeah,
there. And the train ran over Elgirth once.
yeah, it did.
But that was before I moved here as
Yeah,
well, so.
it did. It wasn't before me, but I mean, I came when I was 14, but I don't remember it ever being different than what it is, other than then there wasn't a
Interesting.
crossing there. Yeah,
Interesting.
so,
Yeah.
and I'm old.
We are being recorded.
That's relevant.
Truth is truth.
The media got that, right?
But I don't remember them doing a rehabilitation on that crossing ever to the point where they had to divert traffic.
Unless
than
there was,
60,000
unless there was an
miles.
accident. That's the only time I've ever.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
and then they might reference it being widened, right? So I'm just curious.
yeah. Again, not since I
Okay.
moved here.
But apparently the crossing surface, if we go with the wood, is good for 3 years, apparently.
Yeah, and that one's never been touched in 20.
Not that I can recall.
I think.
Brian,
maybe-
how's your memory?
I don't remember them ever redoing it, and I don't remember it being widened. I have no memory in the where it went through the elevators.
Yeah.
I remember that, and I remember lots of accidents, and but I don't remember anything regarding that 54th crossing. I have no memory of it being narrower.
So it definitely hasn't been done every 2 years.
Well, to
No.
me, when we look at that 97,
Agree.
98 agreement, right? To me, this is reconstruction under Article 8. This isn't maintenance at this point. Right, they're saying it's been 25 plus years.
That's
We
right.
need to rebuild it. It's construction. I mean, we're diverting traffic.
Mhm.
And the,
It is calling it reconstruction in this letter.
in the second letter,
Yeah.
in the new one,
Yep.
at the, yes, initially the responsibility of CN, they're saying, but in Article 8 here of the agreement, it actually says that it's to be agreed by us with the form of a written agreement. So the fact that they moved and actually used the word reconstruction in the January 4th email, I think is a good thing. Because it says they need to make an agreement with us,
Yes, it says by means of a written agreement. That's correct. Yeah.
right? Because before they were arguing it was maintenance,
Yeah.
which
Yep.
number 4 says we have to split 50-50.
Correct.
But they've explicitly used the word reconstruction.
Yeah,
Which
they
would make
say-
sense after this many years.
Well, they say the crossing was widened in 1998. So would that be the last time that, in the January 4th email? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paragraphs here.
Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah, that was
So,
5 years before I moved here.
so that's my question is, was that the last time anything was actually done to it?
Well, there, at one point, there was a derailment where they did some amount of work, was there not, in the 2000s?
They've had a couple of them.
Yeah,
Could have more than one, yeah.
There was the big derailment
Mhm.
that I don't think it did anything to the crossing.
No, but they had to block it off because they had to do a bunch of work.
Yeah, because it had stuff on the
Yeah.
ground.
right.
And then there was the train that ran through the other way. Not what they call a derailment, but it was just on the ground. One set of trucks were off the rails.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it says the terms associated with reconstruction will be agreed to by the parties, so we need an agreement.
You know, I mean, they're arguing that we reconstructed it by moving a mile marker. But to me, this is all just a bit of a shell game, right? If they get us to agree to the premium surface, that Article 5 kicks in and we pay for all of it.
Well, and the traffic volume at that crossing, like, is speculative. Like, yeah,
It's not used often, I don't think, is it, unless it's for your place.
like it's not the same type of volume
I guess-
as
the
what
other
a
crossing.
city
No,
is or something.
it's not, and I mean, I would say it's very seasonal.
Yeah.
Well,
The
there
usage.
there's a lot of truck traffic as far as
Yes,
picking up fertilizer.
Yes.
and, but does the truck traffic actually cross the tracks, or do they come off of 53 and go to Bashaw Crop, because then they wouldn't even touch the,
Well, a lot of, anybody that's using highway, going out to the north on Highway 21, they
true,
will go
yes,
out through that, through the back highway.
yeah.
So what's, so let's, where are we at?
Yeah.
Which would you like to do?
Well, I do
We've
have-
generated that letter that Kyle created, and that will be on its way to Tyler Bannock and the MP, and then all the corresponding or ministers that you recommended.
Right?
And so, in the meantime, do you want me to reach out and arrange some type of consultation with this? Like Tyler Bannock is their like public relations liaison. So,
Or do we give everybody involved a chance to receive and,
the letter, and then,
And respond.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe at our next meeting, put it
Yeah.
back on the agenda, because by
Okay.
then they may have responded, maybe not, but.
Well,
okay,
and it also
All is
says on this detailed estimate dated January 5th, that the estimate
he's
is
still there
valid
now.
until December 31st, 2022.
So we
So,
have, well,
have
but they're going to
time.
do it in the summer.
yes, but we've got some time to,
Is there a traffic study or anything done there? Like, do we know how many vehicles use that, or? Because one of the things that's interesting is the piece of legislation or regulation, I should say, that's driving this is that grade crossing regulation. When the government amended it, they actually put up a whole bunch of responsibilities to the road authorities, which would be us. And one of them that we potentially have to supply is the average annual daily traffic. But if we've never received information from the federal government on this, like I stumbled upon this while researching what our obligations are under the regulation. And that's kind of one of them, is that we have to provide that. It's 12(1)(c). So I almost think we need to do a little more digging into that as well.
well, and how formal of a traffic study are you looking at? Because if you typically, like from highways and stuff, and if you're doing a contracted traffic study, like they start at 15 grand.
Oh, easy.
So
Yeah.
at that rate, we might as well just say screw it, and like, is that
Have a staff member out counting.
either that or you know, pay the 19 for the rehab and say, look, we're, you know, just for the wood plank situation, and however long it lasts, it lasts. Like, I don't
Well,
know.
it's $40,000 cheaper than we first thought it was gonna be.
Yeah,
Well, and like I said, the other piece is both ways, if they're correct, the last 3 years, over a 10-year period, we pay $60,000. But one of the ways they spend zero, and one of the ways they pay more.
yeah,
You know, it makes sense why they're doing what they're doing.
and they're not. They're not gonna be redoing that in the next 2 to 3 years.
I can't see it.
They didn't redo it 2 to 3 years ago. Or 2 to 3
2
years before that.
Or 2 to 3 years before that.
well, they're just basically trying to secure the dollars, I guess, the commitment.
It appears to be that way, whether that's true or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, and so I think there, if we give everybody time to respond and
Yeah.
Okay,
So table that one for now. 7.2 Bashaw Fire Department Alberta Emergency Alert Designate.
So Fire Chief Dustin Hemmingson has put forward a request of council to change the Alberta Emergency Alert Designate from him to Dennis Jones. Dennis Jones continues to be an active volunteer on the Bashaw Fire Department. Within the fire chief role, it's anticipated that he would be occupied with assisting in the event of an emergency response versus being available to provide notification. Yeah, and so Dennis has been on the emergency alert for other municipalities and is quite familiar with the process and the practice tests and things like that. So I just thought we would put forward this request and for council consideration. We currently have in process, as per the organizational meeting, I believe the foreman, Patrick Taylor, would be a designate, Councillor Kyle McIntosh, and then the plan was to have Dustin, the fire chief, be the other designate. So alternately, Dennis would be in place of the fire chief.
Thoughts?
sounds good.
I knew.
Sounds good to me. I'll make that motion.
Brian just did, okay, you haven't let me do one yet.
Thank you, Brian. All in favor? Carried. 7.3, the monthly statement.
We have, as in our correspondence, I think there was a comment about $150,000 coming in,
Mhm,
so.
That's kind of nice.
The monthly statement states that we're not quite broke.
Yeah,
Usually when it's this low, I kind of go, oh, we better slow down on paying bills.
I suppose just before taxes come in, huh?
Well, there's kind of an ongoing, because people get on that payment plan and pay regularly. And then the other part is we should be, well, we're on schedule to receive a grant reimbursement from the Infrastructure Canada, the ICIP program, so the federal portion of our lagoon project.
Oh.
So there'll be some more bucks coming there. So that, I think that was right around 280 or 250,000.
Nice, nice.
Jackie, would you like to do something with us?
I will make a motion to approve the financial, well, the monthly statement of the town of Bashaw.
Thank you. All in
as
favor?
presented.
Carried. There, got your name.
Brian has indicated yes.
7.4, land sales funds.
We sold 2 properties in 2021. Lot 18 is located across the alley from the Bashaw seed cleaning plant and was purchased by the Bashaw seed cleaning plant. And lot 8 is beside Bashaw Farm and Building Supply and was purchased purchased by the same.
Who?
So we've got a total from land sales, $54,761.91. And basically the trend is to move those funds into a reserve for planning purposes. And so basically I have provided a reserve listing for your reference. So subdivision land and development right now is sitting at 143,330. But you know, if we look at any planning documents specific to grade and whatnot, like I've kind of got some initial pricing from Tagish for the industrial area. And so you're looking at a cool 70,000 just to get the plan. But
Yeah.
yeah, so it wouldn't take long to chew through it if we chose to.
Let's try not to. Anybody have any ideas?
I think it's a good idea.
I think so too.
You broke up a little bit there, Brian. I'm gonna assume that you made a motion
Oh.
to transfer that to reserves?
I think, sure, I will do that.
I should plug you in because our connection somehow is not stable.
The wind's blowing the Wi-Fi all over the place.
We have a storm going on out there, so,
Oh, do you?
yeah.
Oh,
All in favor?
no, I'll make that motion. Yep,
Thanks, Brian. Are you in favor of it too?
I am.
Carrie?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
Lift station grinder funds transfer to reserve.
2019, we purchased a lift station grinder to replace the existing failing grinder. Reserve funds were accessed to purchase it. The town of Bashaw budgets for 2020 and 2021 included $5,000 per year to replenish the wastewater reserve. Therefore, $10,000 is available within our operating account to be transferred. On a side note, we still have said grinder available for our disposal. Because apparently there was a piece of wire jammed in the other one, causing it to squeal. So once said piece of wire was removed, the grinder is now functional. But we're also looking at maintenance contracts for these grinders. So we'll have further discussion specific to that within the operating budget. So that we can prolong the function of these grinders versus having to replace them at 21 grand a pop. So.
What's the will of the council?
I think it seems prudent to put the money back for going forward, so I'd like to make a motion to transfer that $10,000 from the operating account into the restricted.
Thank you, Jackie. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Brian's good.
Carried. Fire department gifts donations transferred to reserve. Ooh, we're just saving left, right, and
Sipping
center.
on, moving money, saving money.
Who are you? Where's the real Teresa?
I'm like, wait a minute, I better get on top of this. The fire department, they have firefighter funds that accumulate in their separate bank account. And so we have a policy in place that requires when the account surpasses 5,000, they pass the funds to the town to put into a reserve. And so we also receive donations through to the office as well. And they're coded into a certain code and we tabulate them. And we intend to move them in the same reserve. And so the 2020 amount was $3,150 and the 2021 amount was $5,300. And so the 2021 amount, I believe, included like $2,500 or $2,600 that was from the firefighter fund account. And the other contributions were a mix of, I believe the thrift store provided some funds and several individuals within the community and stuff. So total recommended to move into the reserve would be $8,450.
Is that a reserve specifically for the fire department?
So when you look at our reserve sheet there, this is a sheet that's included in our financial audit on an annual basis.
Mhm.
And so this fire transfer is scheduled to be put into the restricted surplus and the restricted for operating fire.
Okay.
So right now we have $6,206 there. And I believe in the past, we purchased the fire truck. If we didn't purchase the fire truck through here, it was through the emergency services for capital, probably from the capital, because it looks like there's 4,000.
We get a bunch of bunker gear through this one.
We actually get bunker gear cash every year from the county. So the county pitches in, so we can purchase 2 sets of bunker gear. They typically run about $7,200 for 2 sets,
Wow.
and they reimburse us half. And we build that into our budget annually. And so the other thing of note that I've been meaning to bring forward to council is when the fire department responds to a motor vehicle call, if it's on a highway, Alberta Transportation pays for those calls. And so we have a memorandum of understanding with Camrose County that there's a breakdown where they escrow 25% of it for us. So right now that reserve has some cash in it. That reserve has, I believe, $35,272. So
Today we need to replace the county fire truck.
it's more for equipment, because actually
okay.
part of the regional agreement, like the rescue unit that we pitched in 75 grand in, that was a wonderful thing, but not necessarily required through the regional agreement. So basically what happens when they replace equipment, if we can pitch in on it, great. But there's a regional agreement where Lacombe County, Panoka, Camrose County, and I don't think Stettler counties, but there's 4 counties that are all combined with us to purchase equipment. So right now they have a tanker and the rescue unit. Those are just the 2 for the fire department that the county owns.
Okay. Anybody care to make a motion?
I am happy to make the motion to transfer $8,450 from operating into restricted for operating fire reserve.
Thank you, Kyle. All in favor? Carried.
Brian agrees.
7.7 Regional Subdivision Appeal Board Member.
I just got a phone call from Camrose County. Our representative in the past, Grant McKenzie, was willing to be our representative. And he was approached, they followed up with him, and he has opted to decline and step off. So in the meantime, I just gave a quick call to Diane Zumlas, who is also our assessment review board member. And I inquired and basically explained to her what was involved and asked her if she would be interested, just because I knew council would be looking for recommendations on replacement. In my conversation with her, she was willing and said yes. So I thought I would share that with council, and that way we can arrange to get her trained. I think there's some training coming up in March.
Okay. Do we need a motion?
Yes.
I can make that motion.
Thank you, Cindy. All in favor? Carried again?
Yep.
Great, thank you.
Committee and staff reports. I did things and stuff. January 10th, I had a library meeting. It's 10th, right?
Yeah.
January 10th, we had a library meeting. Library is ticking along. Very, very well-run institution, that little library.
It sure is.
And Cindy is a wonderful asset to our community.
Oh my gosh, she's amazing.
And on the 14th, I took part in the elected official emergency management course, I guess we'll call
Me too.
it. It was exciting. So
So
it was a ride. It was a
So
emotional roller coaster. I laughed, I cried, it came apart of me.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I sorted a lot of files. Well, it was attentively listening.
Deputy Mayor Gust,
I have nothing to report,
really?
really. I've been busy, but unfortunately nothing for the town.
Councillor Northey.
We had a historical society meeting on, I think, did I mention that already? Did I do that last time?
I think you mentioned it was coming up.
Oh, okay, so we did have one and we just had an annual meeting, so we got the books done
You
and
got roughly a date on that?
it was, yep, December the, hang on 2 seconds, I'm gonna tell you. We met December, is it 6th or 7th? Hang on. Brian, do you remember?
I think it was in actually last month's report,
Was
Oh,
it?
okay.
Okay, maybe it
I
was.
think, because I had said that I was there as well.
Okay, maybe I did report on it already.
Oh, December 14th.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
we got it.
No, no, you,
yeah, we got it. Thanks, Brian. So the other thing is the Parkland Regional Library does send a lot of updates almost weekly. I get an update. So they are having some training for board members coming up in the next month or two. So if it fits, I will attend. The Bashaw Area Recreation Board has not met. And I also attended the emergency management operations training. And I think that's all we did for the town. I am registered to go to, or I did register before tonight to the policing thing tomorrow
I think it's on Wednesday.
or Wednesday, whenever it was. Okay. That's it.
Counselor Oram.
So I could not attend either dates for the emergency management operational meetings. So I'm working with Teresa right now to get set up for the online piece of that. And then the only other meeting that I attended was the Bashaw Youth Center, which was last Thursday, the 13th. And the only thing that came out of that was that they're still not renting the place out yet due to COVID, just because of the intense cleaning with all the toys in there that would have to take place. So yeah, so as of right now, it's unavailable to rent. So that was really the only big highlight.
And Counselor McIntosh.
I did the MEO course, but I had to go it alone. So I did it on January 12th instead. And I also found it captivating. And that's all I've got for you.
And I keep saying, oh my God, it's gonna be horrible doing it online alone.
Patrick, you're up.
So at the arena, we had our furnace blower give out, causing the lines in the Olympic room to freeze up and crack. Apparently, this is something that happens quite often with this furnace because Action Plumbing had like 3 of them on the shelf. So they were able to get us back up and running pretty quick, and we had to repipe a lot of this stuff going into the Olympia room, but it was only down for a short amount of time. We'll get back up and running. And then our building operations system, their IT link gave out on us, so I had to get Nordic in to get us back online. I had no control over the heat at the community center or anything. But it took us a little bit, a few days getting that sorted. Lift station 1 is finally out for repairs. We should have it back next week. Sand and snow removal is ongoing. We have completed 1 complete round of snow removal in town, I'm happy to say.
It's being undone.
It was done.
Being blown in, back in as we speak.
Yeah, we had we had a 2-inch line, service line that feeds the fire hall break, and apparently this is, from what I'm told, this is the 5th time this line has fractured. And so it was recommended that once spring comes, we should maybe visit taking that old line out and replacing it with something better. Little heavier gauge.
Yeah, we'll have to look at that and find out what length are we going for, like how far, is it a block, 2 blocks, or is it just that service line?
It's just that service line.
Just the service line, it's
Yeah.
not the main line in
No.
that area.
No.
Okay,
Water meter program is on hold because of the weather. With the frost being the way it is right now, we don't want to be fooling around with too many CC valves. So we'll revisit that in the spring. And I am happy to inform you that all the recycling at the shop is now gone.
Yes.
Gone.
Good.
And we're between snow removal and shop organization, we're trying to clean up the front as much as we can. But it's ongoing. Our little tractor, the heaters gave out on us, so it's up for repair and it's out of service for now. So sidewalks are gonna, we'll have to find a different way to do things.
Or was that what you used it for in the winter?
It's mostly used for like the community center, those little sidewalks, you know, so you can get them scraped and sand at the same time.
Yeah.
It's very helpful.
Yeah.
That's me.
Thank you.
Good
Sure.
job.
Teresa,
Items from the last meeting, Highway 1221 Regional Water Services. Arrangements to meet with the chair are in process. Photocopier replacement, the replacement copier has been ordered and is scheduled for delivery. We can give you a tour of that here. It just arrived today.
Ooh,
Nice.
Ours came this
So-
week too.
The railway crossing, the letter to Member of Parliament, Councillor McIntosh has generated a letter and is scheduled to be forwarded to the MP shortly. The local small businesses letter to the MLA, similar to what Clive generated, is still outstanding. Deputy Director Emergency Management for Dennis Jones, the notification has been provided. Environmental 360 waste removal, I anticipate receiving the contract fairly shortly. The library, specific to their trustee changes in December, that letter has now been generated. And then I guess we'll have to be looking at dates for the intermunicipal development plan, the municipal development plan, the intermunicipal collaboration framework, and the strategic plan, which I guess we'll also kind of keep in mind how things go with getting the emergency management training and keeping us on schedule for some of the emergency preparedness training, because it's got timelines to it too. Emergency preparedness, I basically got arranged to update the contact list. So many of the contact lists that we engage with the county have been updated with new council member information. Just our internal one with a notification process needs to be completed, so we'll get that done shortly too. Flush truck, I'm hoping to have some data. We're in the process of putting that together. Our new staff, Darlene Tucker, joined us today, so it was a bit of a full house and busy. So we had Darlene and
Mhm.
and Natasha and
Darlene,
myself.
Does she come
and,
around here?
she's from Alex.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And a photocopier.
Yeah, I know, but
Oh,
it
I
was
like
just
this
a busy day, because of course you should have seen everybody, thanks to Patrick and Peter helping to move that old photocopier out. So to the purchaser, because that thing was a monster. It's pretty heavy. Yep. Yeah, so anyway, and there's a list of my meetings. I was out of the office and resumed business on January 4th. January 6th, we had a payroll meeting. January 10th, we had a staff meeting. January 11th, I had a human resource meeting. The 13th, information about the Alberta public sector purchasing. Are you watching the storm?
just looking at, just having a look at the radar.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a fun drive
I'm
home.
mostly concerned about you driving home,
Me
Teresa.
too. Well, you guys are getting along pretty fast here, so. And I have, a couple offers for if I really get in a bind, so,
Good.
yeah.
I think it's a bind.
I do too. It's really
yeah.
bad.
It's grilled.
I've got a daughter on the road. I'm hoping to get her home soon.
So, and as mentioned, our new municipal treasurer starts. And day-to-day human resource follow-up, generating the council agenda package, catching up on email communication. We continue to be down one public works staff. Not sure of their return date, and we've hired a replacement on a month-to-month basis. And as mentioned, Darlene Tucker started, and water reconciliation and pricing. We're working on that, hoping to have a presentation for the next meeting. And then just comments about we're changing our payroll process and our year-end process and audit We have our audit coming up here as well.
Excellent. Anybody care to make a motion to accept all those as information?
I so move.
Thank you. All in favor?
Yep.
Carried. Correspondence, we got a letter from Alberta Transportation. Give us money.
Mhm.
Fortis. And a couple letters from Crow's Nest Pass. Make a motion on that.
To accept them as information.
Thanks, Jackie. All in favor?
Yep.
Carried.
Thank you.
Item number 10.
I move that at 6:48 PM, we move into closed session of council.
All in favor?
Alrighty,
Carried again. Thanks, Patrick.
Thank you so much.
thanks.
Okay, enjoy, drive safe.
Thanks.
Should go home tonight.
I
I
agree.
agree with you.
See you later.
See ya.
See you soon. See you soon.